What fact are you just tired of explaining to people? I'm a programmer. I write programs. I don't know why your computer won't turn on. Just because someone doesn't always need their disability aids, that doesn't mean they're not disabled and faking it. Someone who needs a wheelchair to get around doesn't always mean they can't use their legs. They can still walk short distances. Don't get your mental health information from TikTok, Facebook, or self-proclaimed experts who aren't professionally licensed. I no longer offer a professional opinion anywhere outside of work, and that includes Reddit. I've learned that 95% of the time, people don't want to hear the facts, they just want to circle jerk about whatever reality they've conjured up in their heads, and if you correct them, they'll be pissed off and then it's about time for everyone. Signed, a psychiatrist. Gets job at NASA. All extended family asks as if moon landing was real. Pain. That's really cool, congrats. I have insomnia. No, I can't just think about nothing. Just go to bed earlier. Number. Going to bed when you're not tired only makes the problem worse. Antibiotics will not help your virus. Even if you feel really crappy. Apostrophes don't make words plural. You mean apostrophe s? An hour-long YouTube video about something does not mean that it is true. It could just mean that some crazy or stupid person posted an hour-long video about nothing and you are now dumber for having listened to it, and may God have mercy on your soul. The difference between type 1 and diabetes, two completely different diseases, being a healthcare worker and sometimes even having to explain it to my coworkers, is tiring. I'm ginger and a lot of people asks me if all my hair is also ginger. My poor wife deals with this as well. What is it about red hair that makes people comfortable with asking about your pubes in public? You cannot get a raise and wind up with a lower net income because of taxes. Income taxes are progressive. The higher bracket does not apply to the money you make under the threshold. This is different from the welfare cliff, which is very real, that disagreeing with someone's opinion isn't an attack on them. Or knowing the difference between a fact and an opinion. Airplanes don't fall out of the sky when they lose an engine. A 747 can glide nearly 100 miles after losing all engines at cruise. Well, that is very reassuring. Wi-Fi does not equal internet. I'm mostly telling this to my kids. We frequently lose internet connectivity, but the Wi-Fi will be working fine. They will never understand. Historic life expectancy is heavily skewed by high infant mortality. If you got past 4 or 5 years old, you had a good chance of making old age. People weren't just dropping dead at 35. Shaving doesn't make your hair grow back thicker. If it did, baldness would be a short-term problem. Maintaining a safe following distance is the easiest thing to do to avoid accidents, and yet most people aren't doing it. It's basically impossible to react in time to avoid an accident if you're following less than 2 seconds behind someone. It doesn't get you where you're going faster. The accident will always be your fault. And finally, 2 seconds is way longer than most people think. Most will count 1 second. That many Chinese people have my surname, but we are not all related to Jackie Chan, just like how not every person with Johnson as their surname is related to Boris Johnson. Maybe you just have Chinese, Kevin. That because I can usually figure out how to fix most things does not mean I want to fix everything that breaks for anyone else. That my lifelong history of depression has little to nothing to do with my relatively stress-free life. People are always saying, what do you have to be depressed about? Believe me, I wish it were that simple. What do you have to be depressed about? Malfunctioning neurons? That poops on the internet have been poops on the internet since the dawn of common. Truly the best way to deplatform them is to not engage the rage. Don't feed the trolls. Being an introvert doesn't mean I'm shy. It means having a social battery which gets run down and sometimes becomes empty if I don't have enough peaceful alone time to recharge it. My job is people enough, but at least I'm paid to be there. I actively avoid crowds on my time off. When out in public, I am not babysitting my kids or giving mom a break. I am a dad and they are my kids. WTF is wrong with women over the age of 40 who say this shit to men? The support is welcomed. My ADHD is an explanation, not an excuse. Absence doesn't make you hallucinate. How algorithms are built to feed you only what you want to see and hear, creating a bubble of ignorance toward everything else. The air is in the bag to protect the chips. You are buying weight, not volume. That we are short-staffed and you're just going to have to wait. Harsh sentencing doesn't deter crime. Study after study, decade after decade, this has been confirmed. The most significant effect on deterring criminal activity is likelihood of being caught. Harsh punishment has a negligible effect. Basic financial math. I have had to go through and show people that they did, in fact, spend too much money, and that's why they are broke. Your opinion does not carry the same weight as an expert who has spent their entire life working on an issue. Corollary, stop giving extra weight to the opinions of sports/movie/pop stars on things not related to athletics, showbiz, music. They likely don't know any more than you or me or the person brewing your coffee at Starbucks. Yes, libraries still exist, and yes, people still use them, and yes, we have things other than print books. Like free COVID tests, a weekly vaccine clinic, classes that are free, and you can get free ebooks through them too. Love the Libby app. The act of observing can change the phenomenon being observed. This is not only true in physics. Have you ever stood over someone's shoulder whilst they are typing? You cannot reduce fat in a specific part of your body. None of those fitness influencer exercises to burn belly fat or kill your love handles do anything. To lose fat you must reduce your overall body fat percent with a caloric deficit. Just because you are in the majority view does not make you right. When it's winter in the northern hemisphere, it's summer in the southern hemisphere, and vice versa. Do you really think it's winter all over the world at the same time? Everything is made of chemicals. Not everything natural is good and not everything man-made is bad. All media is biased. Even the one you're watching. Related, if you think you're unbiased, there's a very good chance you're just siding with the status quo, more powerful person. That I look like an Asian but I am not Chinese and I don't speak Mandarin or Cantonese. Why the bass guitar isn't the failed guitarist instrument, hey? That I don't want to have kids. Africa is a continent with dozens of countries. That I really don't want to eat meat. I'm not against it. Really, eat all you want. I just don't like it anymore. See also, choosing to not drink alcohol. Not because of any past addiction problems or because of religion, just because I don't like it. People just can't seem to accept this. That I don't drink alcohol, any kind, simply because I don't like how it tastes. I even find disgusting the smell. A broken bar and I don't owe anyone an explanation why, even if you're my boss at a company event trying to pressure me into drinking. That the burden of proof is on the one making the claim. It's not my job to prove an election was not stolen, vaccines don't cause autism, etc. Yes. I was just saying this. How can reasonable and intelligent people be expected to disprove the YouTube video you watched that has no basis in reality? Chiropractors are not doctors. They're con artists who at best just crack your joints for you and at worst can cause serious debilitating injuries or even death. The real doctor form of a chiropractor is called an orthopedist. My uncle is an orthopedic surgeon and he refers to chiropractors as bone benders. Most foods marketed to you as healthy are not healthy. Eat simple whole foods, go to the meat section, fresh produce, and simple whole foods, skip the healthy food aisle. Organic foods are also not healthier from a macronutrients level. Poison is not the same thing as venom. People call snakes poisonous when really they mean to say venomous. Venom has to be injected into the bloodstream, like a snake bite. Poison has to be ingested to enter your bloodstream. You could drink rattlesnake venom and your stomach acids would kill it, but if you put that same rattlesnake venom on an open wound or injected it for whatever reason, that's gonna be a problem. Detroit is not the worst place in the world. Detroit's not even the worst place in Michigan. You didn't get hacked, you gave away your login information to somebody. People generally do not have a good understanding of why they feel a certain way, and it is not reasonable of you to demand to know why somebody is feeling the way they do. Similarly, people are not responsible for the way they feel, because it's not something they can control, at least, not very much. They are, however, responsible for how they act based on those feelings. No, Karen, schools aren't putting in litter boxes for furries. That's not how any of this works. My wife legitimately believed this and I was so annoyed. People believe everything, man. We didn't evolve from monkeys, we share a common ancestor. But if that ancestor were here today we'd probably call it a monkey. Men can be domestic violence victims. How and me work. Drop the Thomas and from that's how it worked for Thomas and I. Does that sound right? No? Good. I is for subjective. Me is for objective. Woe is I. Evolution isn't about becoming better, it's simply change over time. Privacy is important, and just because you have nothing to hide doesn't mean you should be okay with invasive overreach for no reason. Spay and neuter your pets. Just because I draw it doesn't mean I'm an expert at every art part, especially realism portraits.